You did it. Sometime in the past week or so, you faced a challenge, a fear, with full awareness, fully conscious going through the entire process. Now, I'm not sure exactly what it was, and I'll put something in later in the video to kind of explain my theories around timing, around parallel paths, all that kind of thing. But anyway, I just want to say well done. I just want to say, how awesome did that feel? When you were in that situation, you were facing a fear, an actionable thing you wanted to do, and the fear came up inside of you. But at the same time, you were pulled. You knew it was what you wanted to do, what you were supposed to do. Your frequency was resonating in that moment to do that action. And you met that moment. You did the action, even though the fear was there. And the beautiful thing, and this might be a very specific thing, the beautiful thing is that when you stepped into it, when you did that action, you actually softened into it. You probably had fears that if you did it even with fear, that you would show up lame or weird, or you would be judged, or it would go horribly wrong, or something like that. But you met the situation, you were fully conscious of it. You probably had a fuck it, I'm just gonna do it type of situation. You stepped into it, you met the moment with the fear as well as the sort of pull, and you just melted into it. And you were there in your sort of truest space by the end of that situation, interaction, whatever it was. You were showing up as your truest self. And it was peaceful. It was enjoyable. It was calm. It was deep, yet light. It was just awesome. So I want to say, well done. I see you. I commend you, because I know how scary it was to push through that. And there were probably times before that where you had many trials or tests and the fear sort of won, right? Or at least there was like a little trial for you to expand your capacity to hold that fear. But yeah, well done. So, how do I know this? And if you're sitting there being like, that's insane, how do you know I just went through that? If you felt any type of tingle going up you, if you felt familiarity in my voice, in my sort of, screw it, I'll sound wacky, my energy, if you could feel resonance in this video so far, it's because you and I share a frequency. We share a energetic connection, if you want to call it that. And I went through that, exactly what I just described, within the last week. So just a quick timeline thing to kind of show you where you can place yourself. If you are watching this within, I'd say, about a week of me actually posting it, so go check out the date of when it was posted. I might even put it in the description too. Then we are literally parallel in this path called life, in this universal evolution. And we are walking this path parallel to each other. We are evolving, growing at the same speed, pace, time, etc. Now, if you came across this video long after it was posted, or you had your situation that I'm describing now long before I posted the video, then don't worry, we're still in what I call, and I think other people call it too, a frequency family. We still share that frequency connection. You guys are just like on different scales, different timelines, different layers, if you want to call it that. But we're still the same. The way I experienced it, just to share a bit of my story, this specific lesson or experience, I've recently come into the idea of holding space connection with people. So, for example, I really discovered my frequency, my truest state in terms of like nervous system, just being able to be myself, be very calm, at ease, at peace while being in public. And what I would then do is I would practice looking at people in that state of peace, calm, relaxation, openness. And what I started to recognize or realize is some people could really like resonate that back to me, like mirror that back to me, and some people would get like freaked out, and some people would shut down, and so on and so forth. That obviously tells you that there are people that can connect with that frequency that I'm putting out at my truest state in that moment. Anyway, so that in itself was a challenge early on for me, but the challenge that I met now was, okay, cool, I can hold space with somebody, I can meet eyes, I can be open, they all of a sudden feel open too, we're smiling at each other. Now it's like I need to act on that. I need to go up to this person and like start a conversation. And that was fucking terrifying for me, if I'm being honest. It was, I think, hitting on one of my core wounds or fears of being seen, and therefore being vulnerable, and therefore, like, you know, the fear of being judged or rejected or whatever. And this moment that I'm talking about, for me, in the way it showed up in my path right now, was I was at a restaurant, I was sitting down, I was trying to do that connection with some of the waitresses on this side of the restaurant, because this restaurant was basically split in two. There was a restaurant here, a little pathway, another restaurant there. And it wasn't really working with these waitresses. Like, the one girl was looking at me, and I could see she was attracted to me, but she couldn't hold the space. So like when I would look at her and I would open up and I would like look at her, she would then like, you know, dodge her eyes. Anyway, so it wasn't working with these people. But then all of a sudden I looked across to the other side of the restaurant, and there was this waitress walking back and forth, going between tables, and I saw her like turn her head and look at me. And I just like kept the gaze, and all of a sudden she just like smiled as she was looking at me, and I smiled back. And that happened like a few times. At one point she was like behind a bush, and I could see her looking at me through the bush. So again, instead of like pretending I didn't see her or whatever, because like that would be like weird or like embarrassing or whatever, I just like looked at her through the bush and I smiled, and she literally like my chest and my heart just like expanded to the point where I needed to like really catch myself and breathe, because it was like a really elated moment. And then she literally like jumped behind the desk, because she was like, oh my god, you know what I mean, because she saw me seeing her seeing me or whatever. Anyway, so I was like, you know what, this is my chance, like I gotta do it. So at the end of my meal, I got up and I walked straight over, and she had actually just gone into the kitchen, and one of her friends was a staff member as well. So I said, hey, can you call her for me? And she was like, who? And I was like, the girl with the glasses. And she took like 5 minutes to come out, because she was probably like freaking out inside, right? So she comes out, and I'm like, hey, what's your name? And she said, my name's Kling. And I said, my name's Aaron. I think you have a really pretty smile. And at this point I was a little bit nervous, so it kind of came out like, you know, a little shaky, etc., etc. And then I was like, listen, I'm new to this place, because I just moved to the city. I don't have any friends. Would you like to be my friend? And she was like, yes. And I was like, cool, can I get your Instagram? She was like, yes. So she gave me her Instagram. And then I started speaking to both her and her friend. And the cool thing about it was, as I started speaking to her friend, it almost like created a buffer for me. So it was like, here's this intense attraction and connection person, and here's this person where there isn't that. So it like almost allowed me to feel more like safe. So then I spoke to her, and she would ask me questions, and then I would almost like redirect the conversation to this girl. And every time I did, like I just came back into that feeling of like, there is something about you, you know what I mean? Like I am connecting with you on a deeper level, like I'm feeling you. I'm opening up to you, and I'm just like holding that space, almost like I'm doing right now, if you could feel that. But yeah, then I like said, thank you, nice to meet you, I'll see you around. Walked outside and I fucking freaked. I was like, fuck yeah, that was awesome, like so cool. I was like shouting, blah, 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 as I was walking down the street, because not necessarily because I got her like Instagram number and all that kind of thing, but because I had consciously, coming back to the main point of this and what I know you've done too, so again, well fucking done, I'm screaming for you too. I consciously went through that sort of evolution with full awareness. And like I've done that before, but not with full awareness, not with really understanding what was going on and what I was doing. And I could push past, or I could hold the fear at the same time, and then I could soften into the frequency. And it's beautiful. It's awesome. It's really, really awesome. And I'll make another video because I did something similar this morning. But this is that's a different lesson, so keep an eye out for that. If at any point in this video, as I said before, you felt tingles, you were like, how the fuck does he know me? Like, you were like, there was this familiarity, there was this recognition, you felt really seen or heard, and no matter at what point you went through that experience that allowed you to really resonate with this video, you are in my frequency family. I am in your frequency family. We are a frequency family. We share a deeper truth, a deeper way of resonating in the world, and a sort of energy signature, if you want to call it that. And if that is you, then I will, with loving and open arms, invite you to join my channel. Invite you to join the free WhatsApp group, because I want us all to come together. Welcome home.